Hello guys, welcome back to our introduction to object-oriented program with Python series. This is video number 5 or section 5 of the video of the series. So in this section we're going to be learning about encapsulation. So encapsulation is another pillar of object-oriented programming. So we have inheritance, we have polymorphism, abstraction, and we also have encapsulation. So what's basically encapsulation? So encapsulation is just information hiding and providing access to the information through the use of methods. So encapsulation is hiding of data of an object and providing methods of the as the only way to gain access to the hidden data, either to modify it or to retrieve it. You have to use a method, so you can get access to the method directly. So what am I trying to explain here? So let me just go into the coding section and let's see how it's going to work. So let me just type into my VS Code, and once I'm in, instead of my VS Code, I'm going to open my sidebar. I'm going to create part3 file. So I'm going to create an NF file. It's going to call part underscore 03.py. Okay. So once I have that created, I'm just going to close these other files and close my side panel as well. So good. So what I'm going to go ahead and do here, I'm simply going to go ahead and create a class. So I'm going to create a class. I'm going to call this class person, right? So person class. And imagine that you had a person class, right? A person object from this person class. The password of the person is not visible. The password, nobody, you don't know the password of a person, a random guy on the street, right? The password is hidden unless the person decides to give you access to it. So without the person deciding you to give you access to it, you don't know the password of the person. And the way the person decides to give you access to it, you can think of it like a method in programming, right? So the password exists, but we can only get access to it if the person provides us with a means of getting access to it. You can think of this means as a method. So we can only get access to the password through the use of a certain method. And that's the whole point of encapsulation. You hide some data and provide methods that can be used to get access to that data. So you can control you can control how people get access to it and not do anything malicious with that data, right? So a person has a password, but it does not nobody knows the password publicly unless he decides to tell you. So he has control over who gets the password, how they can get the password, when they can get the password, and all that information is absolute. It's under his absolute control, and that's the whole point of encapsulation. So let's try to go ahead and let's have a constructor in here. So I'm going to have an init constructor, and in here I'm going to have I'm going to say solve dot name is going to be equals the person can have a name, and name of a person can be publicly known, right? So solve dot we can also have an age, and the age can also be publicly known. You're going to have solve dot password. So password is what it needs to be hidden, but so I'm going to say password because pass is a keyword in Python. So I'm going to say password, and I'm going to have solve dot national ID, like the national underscore ID of the person, and this can be national underscore ID. So the national ID of the person also can be hidden information, right? You don't know everyone's like security or a security code or something like that. So yeah, password, and password is going to be going to be of type string. We're also going to have national ID. National ID. I think I shouldn't make national ID also of type string, and then national. Okay, national underscore ID, and the age is going to be of type int. So int, and then the name is going to be of type string, right? So string. Good. So we have this in here. So this national ID. So this national ID. So good. So we have all this information in here, and by default, I can just go ahead and say I can control this information, right? So let's actually just instead of getting in the name and this the national ID, just make this simple. I'm just going to go ahead and actually type it here in your manual. So I'm going to say let me just say hidden password, okay, and also here I'm just going to say hidden national ID. So hidden national ID, just good. So once we have that, let's go ahead and create an object of this class. We're going to call the person object. Let's just say John. The person is John. Okay, John, and John is going to be of type person, also of type person, and it's going to be equals to the person object. You need to pass in the name, so the name is going to be John, and also you need to pass in the age of the person, which is going to be of type int. So let's say John is 29. Okay, good. So once we have this John object, we can go ahead and actually get access to John's information. So you can say print print. You're going to say John dot password. So John dot password, the password is supposed to be hidden, but I can get access to it. So let me just exit out of this and run the code from last time. So it's going to be part 3. As if I run the code, we get the hidden password. So the person's password is actually not hidden. It's there when you can get access to that password. You can also get access to the person's name, and that we don't have a problem in getting your name, right? Your name can be public, but things like password need to be hidden. But in this case, you can see password is not hidden, and we can get access to it without the consent of this object, right? Without actually having like a method that controls us, controls how we can access this. So how can we hide this in Python? Okay, one we can simply one we don't actually have like private variables in Python like you are doing Java or C++. In Python, basically, what people doing is just using the word using underscore in front of a variable. Just shows that the variable is a private variable, but still we can still get access to it. You can see you can still get access to it in Python. So there's another way you can do it in Python. This is a modern, a bit new in Python. You can use double underscore, and what double underscore does is that it hides that password. So if I go and try to get access to it again, it's going to tell me person has no attributes underscore underscore password, even though we have that attributes. So it's hidden, right? So the information is hidden now from the outside world. So you can get access to the person's password. So now we have to create a method which can allow us to have access to this password, because methods can be able to get access to the password within the class itself. Within the person itself, you know your password, right? So let me just explain to you. So what is the difference to using a double underscore and using a single underscore? So it's called a protected attribute. This is when a variable will use a single underscore. Whenever a single underscore is called a protected attribute. And whenever you use a double underscore, they are called private attributes. So double underscore private attributes, single underscore protected attributes. So I hope that's clear. And if you use protected attributes, you can still get access to it outside, right? Outside, you can get access to it outside of the class through the use of the instance. And if you use a private attribute, you can get access to it. Like you see, you get back attributes has no attribute underscore password. So that's the difference between private and protected attributes in Python. Good. So most of the time you find people using a single underscore in Python, but in this case, in this tutorial, I'm going to be using a double underscore. But most Python code bases, you see them using a single underscore. Okay, good. So once we have that information cleared, now let's write a function that will enable us to get access to the user's password. Means that it's absolutely controlled. The user is aware of it, that you're getting access to their password. So let's say def. You're going to call this one. Let's find a name for it. Let's say get password. So get underscore password, and this is going to take itself, and it's going to go ahead and return to us the password. So this is going to go ahead and simply say return self dot password. So self underscore password. So these are called getters. Okay, so methods that allow us to have access to private or hidden information from a class are called getters. That's also called getters or accessors. Okay, also that's what a getter or accessor is. Basically returns to us basically returns to us a given value of a given hidden information from the class, and that's what a getter is, or is also called accessor. So accessors, they always return a value, and that value is a hidden data. Okay, so good. We are now we can be able to get access to the password. So we can just simply do dot get password and then simply call that a method, and it's going to return to us a password, and you can print it. We have hidden password. Good. And so now we have control of how we release our information. So if you want to put any check in here, you can put any check before releasing that information out, right? So good. Now, what if you want to set the password, right? So to set the password, we have something called setters or mutators in programming. So they're called setters or mutators. So say set password, and password is going to be a setter. So you're taking self, and it's simply going to go ahead and return to us none. So the return type is none. So none. And then you're also going to go in here and simply going ahead and say self dot underscore password is equals to the password that the user needs to pass in. So password. And so we're going to expect the user to pass in a password of type string. So password is going to be of type string. Good. So that's basically it. So once the user passes in a password, we can now set the password. So we have absolute control. In case you want to do any checks, in case you want to make sure the password is valid, anything, you can do all the checks in here. So let's go ahead and set the password of the user. So I want to set the password and then get it. So I'm going to go ahead and say John dot set password, and then say new password, and just go ahead and run the code. So if you run the code right now, we should be able to get new password instead of hidden password, right? So good. That shows that we're able now. This is called a getter or getter or accessor, and this is called a setter or mutator. So this side, here things like get or set methods in programming. This is what they mean. Basically, writing methods that provide you access to hidden information. So good. So once we have that done, good. We can also go ahead and talk more about different ways that why do we need encapsulation. So encapsulation number one is to control access to information. So hiding, making sure that we control how which information we're able to give to the public. Basically, you see our password information, we hid it previously and wrote a function, basically sorry, a method that is able to release that information. So it's under our absolute control of how we release the information, right? So we also have setters we can we use to control how we can set our hidden data, so that we can have information we can have restrictions and constraints on how to set hidden data. So for example, let's have a password. For example, if you're going to a website, right, you can, there are rules for setting your password. So let's go ahead and set some of those rules there. So we check if length of the password that there is a passing, if you want the password length to be greater or equals to 8. So if the password length is greater or equals to 8, then you're going to go ahead and set the new password to be the password that the user passed in. Else you can just say else, you can just say else. um Else we're just going to go ahead and simply print, let's say just print out let's say password, let's say password must be at least, so let me say at least 8 characters. Yeah, so password must be at least 8 characters. So if I go in here and let me just go ahead and say password is going to be new, and if I run the code again, it's going to tell me password must be at least 8 characters. So it didn't set the password, so the password still remains to be the old one. So the password is only going to be set when the this is more than 8 characters. I think this is more than 8 characters. If I run it now, you can see our password has been set successfully. So that's the whole point of encapsulation. Having hidden data and controlling access to the hidden data using getters and setters. So using getters and setters, you can control what information you give out and what information you're able to reset to. So you can see right now you're having constraint to constraint the length of the password and stuff like that. So that's basically how encapsulation works in programming. So that's all for this tutorial. You guys, if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section below. So one easy way you can support the if you like the video, one easy way you can support the channel is by simply liking this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and let us know in the comment section below of any suggestions or recommendations you have. If you want to support me also, you can buy me coffee by using buy me coffee, and the link is going to be in the description of the video. So thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Keep safe.